Hello, you people. I was gonna start singing hey da hey da hey da hey, ho da ho da ho da ho, hee da hee da hee da hee. Oh goodness, I'm in a crazy mood. Well, welcome. If this is your first time on the channel, my name is Rachel Kirkland and my business is the Modern Shaman. So I go by that kind of title and name of the Modern Shaman. I am a working shaman and psychic, and I have this channel where I basically answer questions that you guys send in through my website, and I answer them, talk about the topics that you're interested in. So if you are new, thank you for being here. Feel free to like and subscribe and hit that little button that has the bell on it so you get notified when I do new videos or any sort of live streaming events. I actually just did a video like 10 minutes ago, and you'll notice I'm in the same little outfit that I was on the other video from last week, because I'm making these back to back because next week is Christmas and I am taking some time off for my kiddos and my family and having some family time. And yeah, so this is a back-to-back video and I'm just gonna jump into the question. I will say, all right, before I do that, if you're interested in, I said interested. Oh, goodness gracious. If you are interested in sitting with me for a session, whether it's shamanic healing work in terms of soul retrievals, energy healings, or with traditional psychic sessions, past life sessions, as well as future probabilities, anything like that, just feel free to visit my website. All the info is on there. Same with all the information about my psychic development classes and my new schedule for 2019 in terms of touring and teaching. All of that's on the website, themodernshaman.net. So visit there and connect with me. I'd love that. All right, so here's the question for today. Rachel. That's me. It says, I have watched your videos and I really feel like you know what you're talking about. Good. I hope so. Anyway, in my life, I feel I've always been connected. I've had an OBE, out of body experience. I meditate and connect, but as of late, I can't even meditate. I feel really lost. That connection was a major part of my life, and now I'm stuck. I just would like your advice. Thanks for your time. Okay, I can relate. So, someone who has always felt connected, always had positive experiences in terms of non-physical connections with the other realms, and then suddenly it's black, it's quiet, it's like crickets, right? And then, or even the motivation, like all of a sudden can't even do it, can't even bring yourself to do it, just sleeping through the day, whatever it may be. Okay, let's talk about that. Great question. It's more so like a topic and then wanting advice on this scenario. So let's go into that. My kitty's right outside. I don't know if y'all can hear her in my Bluetooth speakers. Sometimes she wants to be in these videos too. Okay, let me just tune into your energy in this question. So first I will tell you, and this is just from my heart, I will first say you're not lost, all right? You can never be lost. The sensation and the energy of change or something that has shifted and feels different now is very relevant. And I do feel like that is a true experience when we're growing and we're spiritually up-leveling and kind of leveling out of where we once were. But you're not lost, baby. You're home. You're always home. This is home. You're always center. Your center is always you. And you're never without that. That's just my little bit of love and encouragement first and foremost, okay? Because when I read that part that was like, I feel lost, my heart kind of ached for you. But I have known that feeling. I will just share from a personal perspective. I was the same way, and I've always been the same way. I've always felt very connected. I've always gotten lots of messages, whether it be in my waking life, through premonitions, or in my dream world, or just always feeling connected to non-physical. If I wanted to talk to someone that's crossed over, I never felt like I had any sort of inability in that way. I always felt connected. Anytime I wanted to have an out-of-body experience or wanted to have a deep meditational, go into a trance, I was able to do it. And then there did come a time when I was in college, I don't even know what triggered it, I can't even remember, where there was about a year of just like blackness. It was just dark. And I don't mean dark negative, I just mean nothing. I was getting nothing back. It was like typically my prayer time. I would pray and then I would listen and I would hear God speak to me, or I would tune into something and I would get messages. I would see, I would feel like there's a communication. There's something happening on the other side with this side as well. And I went through about a year of this dark night of the soul, or what I called the void. And I did a YouTube video probably 2 or 3 years back. It's probably in this somewhere on my channel if you scroll way back, about the void, okay? And my experience with that, and having to settle into what the heck is this? Where is this energy coming from? And what's with the silence? And I will tell you, for me, it was a deep, deep time of internal kind of transformation, turning everything off, because my whole life had been like this, like a little, one of those wind up mouths, right? Not just me, but from spirit, from the other side. There was so much communication, such an onslaught all the time, that I hadn't really experienced my internal silence. I hadn't really been in a space of emptiness, of the cosmic creation space, of that womb space, the negative space. And by negative, I'm thinking in terms of artwork, right? There's positive space and negative space when you look at a piece of art or an image. There's a sense of it's a full picture, but oftentimes we notice what's in the foreground or the shape of the object and not the outskirts of the negative form that's there. And yet speaking and communicating just as much from the emptiness. So I will say, in terms of advice, first, there's nothing wrong. It is a transitionary, it is a different experience, okay? Silence is a different form of communication. It's not empty. Sometimes it can be. It can be communicating that, the emptiness, the detox, the exhale, the space between the breaths, the space between the molecules, not just the molecular structure and what's created there, but the space between, again, the negative space. It's not always empty of communication, of meaning, of importance. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's the creative space. It needs to be there in order to have a sense of total picture, right? In that time, you just have to go through that time. I really, at least for me, okay, and I can only speak from my own experience here, but I just had to go through it. It didn't mean I didn't kind of wail and whine like a baby. Let's be honest, let's be real, all right? And you know me, so I'm gonna give it to you real. I did. I was like, what the heck? And I was meeting with pastors and people that I respected, like, what is this? I've always heard from God. I've always been able to connect and communicate. What is this? I didn't ask for, what is this? And I don't know that they had any other answers other than listening to me and being a sounding board and a listening ear. And I had to just go through that time. I had to be present even in that space. And I think that's important too, that it's not that something's wrong. There is a valid purpose in that. It's rich with depth if you want to allow yourself the depth of that blackness. And by blackness, I mean spaciousness, right? Not darkness as in like negative and bad. And we don't have a lot of words for the positive and the spacious, do we, in our American language? But it's there. It's a very rich and deep, deep expansiveness if you allow yourself to go there, to experience the empty, the silent, and to move through in that space as well. When you're there, I think the key is to allow yourself the totality of that experience. If it makes you feel isolated, lonely, to experience the totality of those emotions. There is relevance, no doubt, right? Our universe is not random. It's incredibly precise and purposed. So when these times arise, to allow yourself, first and foremost, the depth of what it has to show you, what it has to teach you, and I would just tune into that. Like, why am I here? What does this void feel like to me? And keep going. What are the feeling tones to this space? Does it feel, like I said, quiet in terms of silent, like turn everything off? It just wants to give you a break. It wants to literally refine your ears, your inner ears, the follicles of those eardrums and the inner frequencies, in order to make them so sensitive that when they do start speaking again, there's incredible precision there. I do know that happened for me as well. Or is it a time where it's really about allowing yourself solitude and peace with that? Do you have a sense of peace in this space as well? Do you have a sense of awareness in this space as well? Are you comfortable in this space as well? And when you say you can't even meditate, sometimes there is, at least with me, I go through periods like this, smaller periods like this now, that weren't like a total void of that whole year, but that's kind of ebb and flow in terms of inspiration towards meditation time, or towards journaling, or journeying, out-of-body experiences or shamanic journeys, or traveling to different realms and things. Sometimes I feel very inspired and motivated towards that, and then at other times I don't at all, and I'll be sleeping through my meditation times, and that's normal too, you guys, okay? At least for me, all right? And I know there's plenty of spiritual gurus that will say, I've been meditating every day for 50 years and I've never missed a day. Well, that's relevant for them. Well, there's wonder and beauty in that as well. But when something arises naturally in your life, from a shamanic perspective, there is an organic, natural way to say, this is here for a relevant purpose. What is this bringing to me now? Okay? So if you find yourself in a space that is rejecting meditation in a very overt way, like really, really like nails on a chalkboard towards it, I would go in that direction of why it feels this way, or go let yourself flow with the current of sleeping. Sometimes our body literally just needs to recalibrate. Because I deal with internal imagery and meditation and shamanic journeying and clairvoyance and all of these imagery 24/7, and I'm literally doing this for a job all the time, all day. Sometimes in my meditation time, in my personal time, I'll want to go in a different direction completely, or I will need just to rest my internal vision. I don't want dreams that are showing me things constantly, because I have them in my waking life, in my working life, in my job description. So sometimes the shift, for those of you that have been in this realm for so long and have been comfortable navigating this realm, the shift to actually bring you into an equilibrium can look like silence, can look like no dreams, can look like no meditation, and can look like rest. And that's okay too. Okay, there's relevance and balance there. Don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater, you know what I mean? And assume that you're not connected, or that you're lost because things look differently than they looked before. If you are in the current of evolutionary flow, of an evolutionary journey for your soul, it will continue to change. It should, right? Otherwise it's stagnant and old, and you're doing the same thing you have been doing for 20 years. So leave room for that. Leave room for the expansiveness of spirit. And spirit doesn't show up the way that we expect it to, all right? If you know anything about spirit, and if you've been connecting for a while, those epiphanies, those huge moments where spirit just comes in and blows you away, or those divine moments, sacred, spiritual moments, typically don't look anything like the way we expect them to. The manifestations of it, the way they show up. So be open to that. Be open to the flow that feels free of any way spirit wants to show up, including a sense of silence, including a sense of absolute silence. How rare is that in this world that's constantly talking, that's constantly overwhelming you with information and visuals and things, auditory and frequencies. How rare is that? How sacred and beautiful is that space as well, right? Just really want to encourage you and just let you know there's nothing wrong with where you are. Be very, very present in it. Don't miss it, right? Don't throw it out as something that's not relevant. It is. It is. Especially if your heart and your desire isn't aligned with expansion and growth and knowing yourself and connecting. Trust that this is a new way of connecting, right? This is deepening your sense of connection. And go with that flow. Go with where it takes you. Love you. Blessings.